guys. We got our man John back today. He's in the midst of a drive back down to Florida. Crazy night in the NBA last night. No bets for us. Just a lot of crazy games, crazy backdoor covers. How about John Morant? 34 points, 8 dimes in first game back. That's the most points ever by a guy coming back after missing 25 or more games. Had the rust early, shook it off. Big performance there. Golden State and Portland, some dogs winning outright. And, hey, even San Antonio covered the big number. That game did end up going over, though. That's what we had in our small slate yesterday. John, I don't know if you were able to catch any of that Grizzlies game. I know you were on the move, but I don't know if you saw the highlights recap of Morant. I mean, first game back looked very solid.
Just look, this is why we say guys are going to have a little rush. You can see the rush was apparent in the first half. You know, guys ask us a lot of times, you have a bet first. That would have been the spot for the first half. Easy to say now, but a guy coming off a long layoff, end of last year too, not just the first 25 games this year. So the rust was evident. But what this guy did in the second half, much more than I expected. Couldn't imagine him being this effective in a week from now. And he goes and does it after just the first half, willing a win in New Orleans. We had some of our sharper guys talking about this game in the chat. And there's reasons we don't bet some of the games, guys. Yes, the numbers said even if Zion was going to be out, Morant coming back, just that fact. The first day was a little home revenge, by the way. New Orleans had beat Pelicans early in the year. I believe it was the opener for both teams. But with Ja coming back, what was he going to bring with him? So now with Zion, and the line goes to where our ratings said ballpark it should be. But Zion coming off his illness last night, he had a terrible game. Marshall, who was also questionable, 1 for 7 from the field. So the two guys that were questionable for the Pelicans did play, but did not play well. Ja plays out of his mind second half, and there you have it, a Memphis win. And this is just going to be great for the Ja and Memphis Grizzlies psyche. This team was as bad as you could be, and even if they aren't as good, they'll think they're as good, and they'll go out there and they'll play some games now with Ja. So great job by Ja Morant. Hope he keeps his shit together because the kid is absolutely talented. Again, we've discussed Ja for 2 years now because he had the backup that he had, and Memphis was so deep at other spots. If he was out, Memphis was still able to win. Different story this year. Brooks gone, Adams on the IL, Brandon Clark gone on the IL. And everybody else that they've got. Kennard and Tillman's missed a bunch of time. Smart
Rose.
So, I mean, just a ton of guys out. So he means more than he did the past because they were deeper back then. So we'll see what Memphis looks like going forward. Pelicans, bad loss for them at home. They were great at home. Their last 8 games, I believe it was 8-0, 7-1 against the spread, or 7-1 straight up, 8-0 against the spread.
Yep.
But again, Zion not 100%. He didn't get to do what he had to do. The other games, Phoenix is in trouble, and we keep saying that. KD goes for 40. Booker, I think, was like an 11 for 25, some type of day like that. He gets his points. Grayson Allen gets 11. No other Phoenix Sun gets double digits. That ain't going to work. That ain't going to get you winning games. Portland, we were on the last couple of days. We got there. The last game against Golden State didn't come back with them last night. That was the spot we probably should have. +7 at home. They're getting better. They're better with those parts. I think they're going to see some improvement, but just when that happens, now Sharp leaves the game last night. He's going to be questionable going forward. As far as Golden State, another team dead, down 17. Do you think you're going to salt that game away? But no, Celtics, they do what they do on the road. They take another L. Just 6-6 now, straight up. And I'm going to say it's 8-2 against the spread on the road, just not getting it done on the road. They'll have another tough game tonight. Horford doesn't play well. We'll run that down when we get to it. But Golden State, maybe we threw the dirt on them a little too soon. Clay playing much better last few games. Steph, we told you would rebound after that dismal game in Portland, and he certainly did, putting them to sleep, giving it on that final shot. So Golden State, maybe a second life. Again, I don't see them threatening, but they'll be a playoff team better than the outlook for them was. And Boston, as I've got the best team in the NBA, but they got to get some road wins.
Yeah, 6-6 on the road, not going to cut it. We'll see. Both the top two teams, Denver as well, big drop off on the road this season. So we'll see how that affects down the stretch. We'll see if they get it together. But right now, yeah, Boston 2-8-2 against the spread on the road. That's big money making if you're going the other way. Got a pretty big card today. I know you're on the move, so let's go ahead and dive into this thing. First game, we have Jazz at Cleveland. This is Donovan Mitchell versus the former team. Utah still down a couple of guards in Clarkson and Keon George. How about Colin Sexton? The last 4 games, averaging 27 points per game, taking the extra minutes without Clarkson, and he's taking advantage of it. Utah, on those 4 games, with Sexton's been playing really good, 3-1 straight up and against the spread. Then you have this Cleveland team who's coming in off a nice little win over the Rockets. They did an overtime on Monday. A lot of guys got it going, 8 in double figures. They haven't been getting it done as much at home. And this is weird matchup history. Jazz 8-2, 6-4 against the spread last 10 meetings. They did split last year, each winning at home. The meeting in Utah got a little bit chippy there. So going to be interesting to see how this one shapes up here. Got to be Cleveland or nobody, though. Utah, as good as they're playing right now, it's just permanently at home. You have 2-12, 3-10-1 against the spread on the road. Really tough to back a team like that, not getting it done on the road.
Yeah, my lean here is to Cleveland. Jazz have been terrible on the road, but just getting back to Sexton, this just shows you depth. So badly needed in the NBA, depth. So Clarkson out, and Sexton has picked up his game. You could see this also. White for Chicago Bulls has gone off since Levine has been out, and they're actually playing better, and that's why. Well, stick with us with the previews, and we'll tell you about that game. But Chicago Bulls playing their best ball of the season with Levine out and Kobe White going off. So you got Sexton getting the job done with Clarkson out. But again, Jazz not good on the road. Cleveland, they've won the last couple of games, and they've gotten that done without Garland and Mobley, who are going to be out for the foreseeable future. So this is a game they're going to give Mitchell the ball and tell him, go light up your old team, and I think he'll get it done. This might open 9.5 and went as low as 6.5. It just ticked back up to 7. 6.5 would have been the number to lay. I have not laid this game yet. Was a little worried about what somebody might have seen in this game, an unknown injury. We'll wait later in the day, but Cleveland and nobody in this one.
Then we have the Hornets at the Pacers. Hornets blew a tough game there at Toronto. They led going into the fourth, and they lost the fourth quarter by 17 points, so blew the cover and everything else. They were a bit shorthanded. Bridges, he got held up with customs. Williams, he's still going to remain out. Bridges obviously back. And then you have this Pacers team who was just crushed by the Clippers. Turner didn't play. That's a big piece for them on both sides of the ball. Didn't have him there. He's still questionable. And Indiana now, they've dropped 4 straight. They've been getting crushed, giving up 138 points per game. Hornets, a lot of success in this matchup, 7-1 against the spread. This game to me is Charlotte or nothing. You're getting a lot of points here with a team who owns the matchup, and Indiana not playing their best ball right now. If Turner ends up being out, I would really like the Hornets in this spot.
Yeah. Indiana, as well as the Lakers. We talk about letdowns all the time, guys. This is the perfect picture. By the way, I guess my you see my clothes and my bed's unmade. We're in the hotel over here, so just in case you're like, what the hell is John doing? Anyway, Pacers, Lakers, big time letdown. Since the in-season tournament game, include for the Pacers, including that game. Now, 4 straight they've dropped by an average of 17.5 points per game. So the letdown is immense. We'll talk about the Lakers when we get to that one. But again, this is why we use the terms letdown, look ahead, because they're real trends. So Pacers have been playing terrible ball since knocking off the 2 best teams in the East, the Bucks and Celtics, back-to-back to get to that final. Yep. But different team right now. Halliburton had missed 2 games ago, came back, looked horrible in his last game shooting. Turner missed, so not playing their best ball. Charlotte, man, they went into Toronto down 4 starters. Remember, Ball is out. He's been out. Williams, the center, has now been out for a while. Hayward missed that game. And Bridges wasn't even allowed in the country, so they went in there real shorthanded. Don't make much of that game. They led going into the fourth quarter and just got wiped out in the fourth quarter. As Ben said, matchup history has been all them. Pacers got to come in the game. They got to right the ship. Charlotte should be a team they should be able to do it with. They do get Hayward back tonight, Bridges back tonight. As Ben said, Williams will remain out. Ball obviously still out. I think the number's a fair number. Indiana, as bad as they're playing, still got to be double digits at home in a revenge spot, even though Charlotte has owned the series. I just think it's a fair number.
And we have T-Wolves going on to Philly. They're coming off a nice win at Miami on Monday. Edwards, another solid game, 9-1 their last 10. They're playing great basketball right now. And Philly dropped one at home to the Bulls. You had Embiid, who dropped 40 points in that one. The rest of the team, though, couldn't get it done. Really bad shooting nights from a lot of guys. Oubre, the worst of it, 2 of 10 in that one. And they're going to be missing some guys. Batum's out. You have Covington and Morris. They're dealing with the illness, too. They're questionable. Embiid, he was dealing with that illness the other day, going around the whole league right now. So anytime you see a guy or two
on the whole country right now, so it's just more of, that, hey, but these guys, more than anybody, they're perspiring, they're running hard, they're in the locker room together, taking showers. This is what we talk about spreading. So a couple of guys got it. You could watch a couple of more got it. You got to keep your eyes out for that. But yeah, it's going all over. I even got a little bit of it.
Yeah, so make sure you guys wait for those lineups. Make sure if any team has those listed illness questionables, hold out to see if there was going to spread at all, like John said. Philly, they've had success in this matchup a little bit. Wolves, as of last year, they got them a little bit more. You have Philly, who'd won 6 prior before that loss to the Bulls. Maybe a little bit of a look ahead to this matchup. Really solid number on the game. Lean Minnesota in this one ever so slightly, but not a game I'm going to get involved in. It feels a fair number.
Celtics lost last night, makes Minnesota with the best record in the NBA as they go into Philly. Philly, I think, had an eye on today's game in their last game against the Bull team that they previously owned. But now Bulls have won 3 straight in Philadelphia in the last 3 meetings. Bulls playing really good basketball. As Ben mentioned, you got a couple of forwards out or could be out. Batum definitely out. Covington, Morris, all both questionable. We'll see how that game breaks up. Edwards playing good basketball as he goes. So goes the Timberwolves. Obviously, you need Cat, you need Gobert, but it looks like this is Edwards as he goes. So go the Wolves. 3.5 fair number. A little bit of revenge. Philly went there early in the year without a full squad, and the Wolves put it on them in that one by 13. So, again, fair number. We'll wait to see who the ins and the outs and where the line is later.
And we have Heat going on to Orlando. They're coming off that loss to Minnesota the other night. Hero and Adebayo came back, played pretty well, all considered. 47 points combined on 20 of 40. Then you have this Magic team that just dropped 2 in a row at Boston, both by 17 points. They are 11-1, 10-2 against the spread at home. That's the big caveat with them. They've been getting it done at home a lot this season. Top 3 in the NBA in both record and against the spread record. Heat have dominated this matchup, but Magic 4-2 against the spread the last 6. They split 2 games in Orlando last year. No Jimmy Butler tonight. It's going to make it tough here to want to be on the Miami, but my lean is to Miami, even without Butler, getting some of those depth pieces back in Adebayo and Hero. Still, this matchup, tough for me to get it this high with Orlando, even without Butler. Just considering how tight they usually play. Both games in Orlando last year go to overtime.
Yeah. Butler out. Love, again, questionable with the illness that's running around the whole league. But they got Hero and Bam back in their last game. And they both played deep minutes and played well. Again, guys that both were off for a little bit. You expect them maybe a little rust. Not so much. They were right. They got right back into it. Magic lose a pair of games in Boston, but they have been great at home. Can they get it done against Miami? Miami's have pretty much owned this matchup, but not in Orlando. They've split the last 4 meetings. They're 2-2 against the spread. 5 a fair number with Butler out, but with the lean to Miami.
We're going to have the Knicks going on to Brooklyn.
I just want to mention also Wendell Carter Jr. is expected back, and he's been out since beginning of November. So now there should be a little rust, even if they start him. They've been playing well without him. Yep. Maybe he even comes off the bench. We'll wait to see on that.
We have the Knicks at the Nets. Both these teams were on West Coast trips. They come back. Knicks, they go 2-2. They come off the win against the Lakers the other night. Nets to go 1-4 on the trip, coming off that loss at Utah. This matchup used to be all Brooklyn. It still pretty much is. They did split meetings last year, each winning at home. But Nets, they've won 6 straight in Brooklyn. And that's got to be where the lean is to me for the Nets. You have Sims, who's questionable here. Another big man, Mitchell Robinson. He's been out for a while. Go down another guy, another big guy. You're going to be getting a little bit smaller there. So Brooklyn, definitely not a big team by any means. Obviously, they have Claxton, but outside of that, not the biggest team. But you start to lose too many of those big guys, changes how you play the game. So getting to see if he's in, and it's Nets or nobody with that matchup history, John.
Yeah, Nets look like they went out west just to play one game, and that was against the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah.
They did get the W there, but hey, Portland just beat the Suns last night. So Brooklyn left the East Coast, playing real good basketball, went out west, only come away with one win. Losing ugly to the Jazz. Jazz actually beat both the Knicks and the Nets out on this trip. Knicks better in that final game. They took it to the Lakers. They had changed their game around. The Knicks scoring, giving up points, except for the last game when they and the Lakers got in a defensive battle. Come back home, as Ben said, this series has been pretty much owned by the Nets until the last 2 games last year. Knicks got them both times at the Garden by a combined 42 points. They lost 9 straight prior to that. And while Brooklyn won both games last year by a combined 34 points in Brooklyn and won the last 6, they didn't cover the 4 prior to last year. So this is a tough one. Brooklyn coming home, Knicks coming home. Brooklyn needs this one a little bit more, but I'm at pick 'em with this game. And right now, you're looking at the Knicks 1 or pick, depending on the sports book.
And we have Nuggets going on to Toronto. They crushed Dallas the other night. Jokic got an easy cruising game. He played 27 minutes. No one played more than that. Jackson and Gordon gave big games. Denver, though, not the same on the road. Same as Boston, 7-8, 5-10 against the spread. And then you have the Raptors coming off that nice win against the Hornets. There's 3-7 straight up against the spread. Their last 10, just over 500 at home this season. And as far as the matchup history, favors Toronto. 5-2 the last 7 meetings. 5-2 the last 7 meetings in Toronto as well. It's Raptors or nothing here. Catching points, home dog. Denver, not the same team on the road. And all these bigger top-tier teams you got to watch out this week as they have their Christmas Day games coming up. So is this a spot maybe on the trip that gives someone a day off? They didn't play many minutes, so I wouldn't expect it. But possibly heading into Brooklyn and then Charlotte after this, they could be that day. So Nuggets, one of those Christmas Day teams, lean to Toronto in this matchup.
Wouldn't expect day off at all in this spot. Just could be a little bit of an in-between game, a little letdown after destroying Dallas and looking ahead to the Christmas Day. All the teams, the players, this is a big day for Christmas Day for the players. There are a lot of guys looking forward to that, being in the spotlight. So that is a possibility. Denver just has not got it done on the road. This is a good point. Our 2 best teams, last year's world champion, Denver Nuggets, and who I have rated as the best team right now, Boston Celtics. Both teams are at least 4 points better at home than they are on the road. I know some of you guys get sick of me talking about my ratings, but I'm going to drive it into your skull because this is how you make a line. So if you've got a computer rating like Sagarin, I don't know what he's using today, somewhere in the 2.3, 2.4, give every home team, but that's just not the case. Portland is better on the road than they are at home, and there's just no way to say they're not. While the Celtics and Nuggets, the difference isn't 2.3, 2.4, 3.4. It's at least 4 points on both teams. So, again, if you're not rating your teams individually at home and away, you don't have ratings. So I just wanted to get that through. Denver, not good. Not good on the road. Just what can I say? Still one of your top teams. Murray back now. They look fantastic against the Mavs could start to get the ship right. All that being said, my number on the game is 3.5. It opened 4.5. Just not enough room. If it was a little higher, would have definitely took the home dog in this one. It has ticked down to 4. Again, closer to my number. Just that's where it's supposed to be.
We have Hawks going on to Houston. They're coming off a much-needed win over the Pistons. Still didn't cover, though. I mean, in the last 20 games, they're 3-17 against the spread, which is worse than the Pistons, worse than the Spurs, worse than the Wizards. All those bad teams everyone's shitting on, they're covering less than them. Then you have this Rockets team, just the opposite at home this season, 11-0, 10-1 against the spread. Their last 11 there. They're coming off that tough loss against Cleveland. Van Fleet, though, he did have a big game. This is Rockets all the way or nothing. They're playing great basketball at home. Atlanta, they can't cover if they're life dependent on it. No interest here in backing the Hawks on the road. Cheap enough price. Rockets are nobody.
Yes, I got to agree with Ben. Rockets just winning at home and covering, and Atlanta can't cover nobody. They can't. They didn't cover the Pistons the other night. They had Detroit at home. They were 1-10, I believe, against the spread at home now after not being able to cover them. Put on that, Bogdanovich going to be questionable. He's missed the last 2 games. Just needed this number to be a little lower. We got kind of caught with the numbers yesterday. If this number was a little lower, it's Houston to nobody. Don't want no part of Atlanta. If Bogdanovich is in, maybe that makes the line tick down 0.5 point. We'll see where the line is later. Right now, most spots are either 3 or 3.5. 2.5 would be a lay on this one.
And here comes your guys' free bet. We got the Lakers going on to Chicago. Lakers coming off that loss against the Knicks. Now 1-3, 0-4 against the spread since the tournament, and struggles on the road this season. And you have the red-hot Bulls team. I mean, for a team trying to trade Zach LaVine, this might be the worst thing you could have. They have looked terrific since Zach LaVine has stopped playing. What is it now? 8-1 against the spread of the last 9, 6-3 straight up, coming off a big win there against Philly. And they've had some success in this matchup history, 3-1 the last 4 meetings. Lakers did take it to Chicago last year. John absolutely crushed the number on this game.
Yeah, I was on the road, and as soon as the numbers came out, we just getting Kevin Love's going to be out now. That they're already coming in with the injury, guys, so you get that ready. Kevin Love out. Going to make it tougher to like Miami, by the way, with Butler and Love already ruled out. But getting back to yesterday, as I was on the road, as soon as the lines open up, Ben gives me the call and says, I'm sure you're going to like this one. And the opening line come up literally. We couldn't act quick enough because the line actually opened up 7 yesterday. So even at our because our first bet at 7 would have been a 4-unit bet. The number ticked down, so we ain't the only sharps attacking that number. So we sent it out to our guys, plus 6.5, a 3-unit bet. Probably could have even been more. This was just the wrong line. As Ben said, Lakers just horrible since the in-season tournament. Letdown, as we discussed with the Pacers. Chicago playing their best basketball of the year. Can the Lakers? Of course they could win. They could win this game by 24. But the line just could not be 7. That was the opening number. It's down to 4 now. Bulls, in this last run, they've beaten the Bucks. They went to overtime and lost to them. They've beaten Philly. They're playing really good basketball. They come home against the Lakers team that hasn't been great on the road, has been absolutely terrible since the in-season tournament. And obviously, of course, AD and LeBron are listed questionable. Expect them both to play. But they do have a game against Minnie tomorrow. Does LeBron play both games of the back-to-back? Does AD? But we'll wait to see. Just there's no reason in the world not to love the Bulls in this spot. Yeah, we wish we had plus 7, but we took plus 6.5. Very happy to have that one. This game is at 4. That's our free bet to everybody. As far as the total, this is one that me and Ben agreed. Ben, why don't you talk about the total?
Yeah, just some over trends here. Technically 7 of the last 8 meetings, but the last 4 averaging 226.5. Lakers 3 of their last 4 averaging 240, and 5 of the last 6 went over as well for the Bulls, 231.8. And just one of those totals as well. The line being off 2.5, 3 points on the spread. Typically, the total being that early is not accurate as well. We got in on that at 223.5, and now that's up 225.5.
And that's our bets as of right now. Look, very selective. We don't bet for entertainment. When there's a spot, there's a spot. When we see a spot like yesterday and the game moved 2.5, that's a spot. So we're all over the Bulls, and we got the over.
And we got this great matchup, Clippers and Dallas. A lot of history between the two teams. They've had 2 battles already this season. They split, each blowing them out at home. Clippers coming off a big win at Indiana. In their last 2 games, they've now averaged 147.5 points, putting up ridiculous points. Kawhi Leonard scoring at an extremely efficient rate. James Harden looks like he's finally in his full James Harden game-shaped self after about a month or so of playing basketball. Paul George illness is questionable. Another one of those illnesses to watch tonight. Does that spread to anybody else here for the Clippers? And you have this Dallas team just got crushed the other night at Denver. We'll see how they come back here. 5-2 straight up against spread their last 7. This is tough to go against the Clippers right now. Absolutely red hot, 8 in a row, and they're just putting up a shitload of points. Granted, if any team's going to be able to go toe-to-toe of points, it's Dallas. We'll see what they have in the tank, though. Obviously, still no Kyrie Irving. Home dog here. Slightest of leans to the Clippers, believe it or not, but not looking to go at this number on the road. And they've only come down on the total. Wanted to look at that over a little bit, the way the Clippers have been playing. If Paul George gets ruled out, imagine it goes down even further. So that could be a thing. Could also be a side if Paul George is out. That means more minutes for Norman Powell, and I like when Norman Powell plays.
Yep, if you guys remember, the last time we bet the Clippers was when Paul George went out. We love Norman Powell. He's at the highest plus minus. So in the last few games anyway, he fills in real well. But they're that deep. Before we get into this game, I just had a hat on. I would tip my cat. Tyrone Lue, they figured it out. Me and Ben were saying that this ain't going to work. And it didn't work while you had Westbrook and Harden on the court at the same time. Yep. Westbrook goes to the bench. They have figured it out. Harden is looking like Harden again. Kawhi looking like Kawhi again. This team is dangerous. This team could be the best in the West right now. So let's see if they keep getting better. But they're red hot. Dallas has played really good ball without Kyrie. 6-3 now on the season without him. He'll miss again tonight. But they went and got waxed up at Denver. They're going to be a little more shorthanded. They're already missing Green, missing Cleaver. Just these are rotation guys, small pieces. Lively, though, he'll sit out also again tonight. Not betting against the Clippers, red hot team. We'll wait to get that Paul George info and where the line is later on. Right now, we're looking at 3 on this game.
Yeah, and the mention of Westbrook there. Team who could use Westbrook, and I don't even know if he's looking to get out there now. He's not getting the same minutes, but Phoenix, I mean, they need a point guard. They need a guy who can play minutes and stay. I mean, he's durable. So he has the experience, play with both Beal and Kevin Durant. I mean, I don't know if they would shop him at all. I don't know if he wants to leave LA, but Phoenix, they need a point guard. They need someone who can play every day.
Look, that might not be a bad fit. Beal, I don't know if is ever going to be right. I never liked the Beal situation anyway. It just would upset what they have now. You're going to still ask Westbrook to come off the bench when Beal's healthy. Are you going to move Beal up to play some 3? Now you got guys like Gordon and Allen, who I think are real good rotation guys that can knock down the 3. You just now they're lost in the situation anyway. We'll see how that materializes. But right now, Phoenix needs something. We just talked about it at the top. Phoenix is a bad team. KD and Booker just not going to get it done. 70 between them, great. Nobody else scoring double digits. Ain't going to get there. Another ugly loss for them last night. As far as this Clipper game, as we said, just don't want to get in front of this. This team is flying right now. Not getting in front of them. We'll wait for that info. Go ahead, Ben. What do we got next? That last game.
Yeah, last game, Celtics at the Kings. This number opened up 2.5. Boston kind of flipped the other direction. Obviously, Celtics coming off an overtime loss last night, blow a big lead there against Golden State. You had Derek White, another one of those big games. He's been getting going here and there for them. Tatum, that's going to be the thing here. He did play a lot of minutes. He had a little bit of a ankle issue last night. We'll see if that carries over into tonight. And then you have Horford, who's probably going to sit after playing and won't play back-to-backs. Porzingis, he already sat the front end, and it looks like that's the common theme here with the Celtics now is, sitting Horford on one end, Porzingis on the other. And Sacramento playing pretty good ball right now these last few games here. They're 5-1, 4-2 against the spread their last 6. Fox and Sabonis getting rhythm again. Murray playing well. Can they get up for this game? Celtics have dominated them the last 4 meetings, average of 30.8 points. That is some beatdown. So got to see who's in for the Celtics tonight. This is one more game. This is absolute ownership. I'll still give them the slightest a chance here for revenge tonight for the Kings, but starting to look like some serious ownership there, John.
Yeah, these are 4 beatdowns. The closest game was an 18-point beatdown in Boston last year. The last 2 trips to Sacramento, a combined 52 points. But Boston's back-to-back off overtime, short-handed, could be without their superstar Tatum, so can't jump out on this one right now. Here's a game we shrewdly stayed off yesterday when Boston was the favorite, knowing Horford's going to sit. Horford sits. He hasn't played back-to-back in 2 years. Not going to start today. Porzingis didn't play last night. So we didn't jump on the Celtics, and that line has flipped 4 points because of the overtime, because of the back-to-back, and now because of Tatum. Look, Tatum went to the locker room in the first quarter, comes back and plays 41 minutes. But I don't know, did that ankle swell up a little bit? Have to wait and see. So we've got to see the info. But the way the Celtics have owned them, if Tatum plays, would have to lean just that way for the ownership coming off a loss, even though they're in a bad spot. Look, we've talked about Boston since the beginning of the year. These are going to be the tough spots for them, these back-to-backs, because they're not a deep team. Are they still second or the worst bench in scoring, Ben?
I'll pull it up right here. Last time I checked, they were last.
So without having that bench to go through the NBA season, look, you're built for the playoffs is one thing because there's no back-to-backs there. But you got to get by the regular season, and right now they're just not getting it done on the road. And this is going to be the problem from situations like this, back-to-back, overtime. Who else gets a rest? So while I want to bet Celtics because of the domination over the last 2 years, they're just in a tough spot.
Yeah, they are now the worst bench scoring team still right there. Next couple of the ones that come after that, Philly's actually the next closest, 743 to their 674. But, no depth there.
And that's pretty much it, guys. So the 2 bets on the Laker game, obviously the big bet is the side, the 3-unit bet on the side, 1-unit bet on the total. And we'll watch the lines move right now. As we speak, I'm watching the top game, Utah Jazz and Cavs, some spots taking it off the board. So we'll wait on that info. What else you got, Ben?
Yeah, guys, just the question marks today. A lot of illnesses like we addressed a few times. Guys like Paul George, that could kind of set a little bit of a domino effect. We'll see what's going on there. But with all these key guys being listed questionable, that's going to have some big movements on lines. As always, you guys want those updates. You guys want bets that could be added later on today. Sign up on the app or the website, massaedge.com. And, coming off a winning Monday, no action yesterday. See if we can get some more winners today.
And look, it's not only the guys that we know are questionable, but you don't know who's going to pop up questionable in the next 6 hours. That this is Christmas week, and getting ready to hit the winter. Going to happen every day. Is going to be these late injuries, late illnesses. So that's what you want to pop in. So didn't get the info yet. Still waiting on it. I'm seeing, like I said, half the spots taking it off the board. Some going down as low as 5.5 right now at Circa. So we'll let you know if you're How to Beat or if you're a Massa Edge member, you'll get that update as soon as we know it. Let me get to work and get back on the road. You're in the capable hands of Ben Angulo till then. And Ben, give me a holler on the road if there's anything interesting happening.
Yep. Enjoy your travels, John. Stay safe, and let's win some games.
Let's win some games.